My boss stole my $1 million client presentation and tried to get me fired, so I exposed her to the CEO. I spent 6 months living and breathing the Meridian campaign. It was the biggest pitch of the year, potentially worth millions to the agency. I was a senior associate at the time, hungry for promotion, and I did all the heavy lifting, the market analysis, the creative concepts, the financial projections, everything. My direct manager, Brenda, was the definition of hands-off until the spotlight was ready. Brenda was notoriously ambitious and cutthroat, but I thought we had a decent working relationship. That trust evaporated 3 days before the presentation. I sent her the final deck, polished and ready for review. She immediately locked me out of the master file, claiming she needed to do some high-level formatting that was above my pay grade. Alarm bells were ringing, but I reluctantly compiled. The next day, I saw the presentation agenda. My name was nowhere on the primary presenter list. It was just Brenda, followed by her section heads, none of whom were me. When I confronted her, she laughed it off, saying my role is done, you provided the raw materials, I handle the execution. She then subtly threatened my standing, suggesting that questioning management decisions was not conducive to career growth. I was livid, but I didn't rage. I got meticulous. Over the 6 months, I had been careful. Every major creative block, every financial calculation, and every slide design element was documented via timestamped internal email threads and track changes in our version control system. Brenda, relying on PowerPoint's default file properties, hadn't scrubbed the metadata correctly on the version she planned to present. The presentation day arrived. It was huge, held in the main conference room with the CEO, the global head of accounts, and the entire Meridian executive team present. Brenda delivered the presentation flawlessly, basking in the glow of success. She constantly referred to it as my strategy, my vision. When the presentation concluded, there was a brief window for Q&A from the floor. I raised my hand. Brenda tried to ignore me, but the CEO nodded for me to speak. I stood up and asked a seemingly technical question directed at Brenda. I said, Brenda, on slide 42, the projected ROI calculation, did you incorporate the revised Q3 metrics, or are you running on the Q2 data I finalized for you last week? This forced her to talk specifics. She floundered, trying to sound authoritative but clearly lost. I then calmly addressed the CEO. Sir, if I may, I can clarify the origin of that calculation. I have the detailed audit trail proving I authored that exact slide and calculation on my internal drive, confirmed by the version control stamp at 11:37 a.m. last Tuesday. I also have the original asset file metadata confirming my authorship of every major design element she just presented. There was dead silence. The CEO looked furious. He didn't even look at Brenda. He looked at the global head of accounts and simply said, I think we need to review internal integrity protocols immediately. Brenda was escorted out before lunch. The Meridian client, highly impressed by my detailed immediate knowledge of the content, specifically requested that I be the new account lead. I was promoted the following week. Brenda's career, however, became yesterday's news.